Hey everybody. I'm going to do this as quickly as possible. My mom went to go get my nephew over at the Chevy dealer because he's getting bored with his dad. I don't know if he's going to stay here or not because then I guess my mom was going to go to Modesto and drop off my other nephew. One of those days. Just one of those days, right? But anyway, I wanted to do a little on-camera thing because I don't think I'll ever be able to do the thing because I don't know, like I said, if my 9-year-old nephew's going to stay here where they go to Modesto or whatever. So, anyway, I want to address something I talked about briefly. I want to talk about the whole Robotized Masters thing. Now, apparently, it seems Sega, I guess, because of this crossover and their deal with Capcom, allowed the entire, almost all the gaming cast, except for Sonic, Big, and Cream, and Marina, to be roboticized, or at least turned into Robotized Masters. Now, again, as I mentioned in the audio video, not a lot of people are happy by the results of how easily the Robotized Masters were defeated. They weren't happy about that. It's like, okay, spin dash and copy chip blast, yeah, we get that. It's like a two-step deal. But now you just have spin dash deal, spin dash blast. It doesn't make sense. It's like a cheap DAM, Deus Ex Machina, if you will. And now, even though I don't have mine just yet, it'll probably come later this week, probably tomorrow or Wednesday. Tomorrow is Wednesday, I should say. Tomorrow or Thursday or Friday, one of those days. But apparently Rouge became Rouge Woman, which everybody was hoping would happen, and it did. And what happened, and I think this is what kind of breaks the camel's back with some people, is she became Rouge Woman is that she debuted as Rouge Woman in the 250th issue and was restored back to Rouge within the same issue. And a lot of people are upset about it, and some people look at that as being like the final straw. It's like they can't understand why you couldn't keep it longer. Why couldn't you do something more with it? And it's like, okay, you just turned her into Rouge Woman, which we knew was going to happen, and yet you just restored her just like that within the same issue? Doesn't make sense. And again, I can kind of understand how they feel, because it's like you're wasting a lot of potential here with these characters. You're wasting a lot of potential with these characters being Robotized Masters, and yet you're not taking full advantage of it. You're not really taking it to that next level. You're not doing more with them. Well, let's take a look at this. The positives about this is you had characters like Amy and Knuckles and Blaze and Silver and even Shadow Robotized Masters for about 5 to 6 issues, or 5 to 8 issues, if you will. About 5 to 8 issues. So, if you have said characters as Robotized Masters for 5 to 8 issues, then why are some people complaining? Why are people complaining? Well, again, I can pretty much tell you why. It's mostly because they feel they've been cheaped out. They've been cheated out of potentially more being done with these characters in a roboticized state. Me, personally, yeah, it's like I said before, and I think it was in the audio deal, and I think I've said this before, I personally would have done more. I would have waited to this very issue. I mean, you have that whole gathering of Robotized Masters, of Robot Masters, along with Robotized Master Rouge Woman, that is, before she was restored in the same issue. You have all of those, and wouldn't it have made more of a conflict? Wouldn't it have been more of a great climax for an anniversary issue if you would have added in those 8 Roboticized Masters, if you will, and basically, let's say maybe with the exception of Tails, who would already be restored, I'd make that an exception. Would you want it to where Rouge, Amy, like Rouge is Rouge Woman, Amy is Rose Woman, Shadow Man, Silver Man, Knuckles Man, whatever you want to call it, Blaze Woman, you know? Wouldn't you like it to where at least maybe, or I don't know, you put them on a 10-minute, maybe 5-minute counter, 10-minute countdown to where Sonic and Knuckles, I mean not Sonic and Knuckles, but Sonic, Tails, and Mega Man, mostly Sonic and Mega Man, would have to fight through all these other Robot Masters just to get to the friends before they blow up? Wouldn't you think that would have made more of a climax? I do. But again, like I said in my audio video, the reason these characters were restored so easily, more importantly Rouge being restored within the same issue she debuted as a Roboticized Master, the reason being is because Sega, this was the only way Sega would allow it to happen. It's like Sega's thinking, okay, you can turn them into Roboticized Masters, but you've got to restore them like that. You cannot have any conflict. You can't have any, oh, they got to go through a maze and all that. No. It's basically, you got to restore them and get it done quickly. You can only have it for a limited time. And I know that pisses off a lot of fans, and I don't blame them. It's like right now, like I'm recording last night's Monday Night Raw because I couldn't record it otherwise. I had to download it through the YT. But anyway, it's like right now they currently have plans. Currently they're pushing a group known as the Shield. And the Shield is virtually unstoppable. Virtually. They've only had one loss as a team, as a 6-man team. They've had a few individual losses, but that's it. They've virtually been unstoppable. And it'd be like, okay, you're pushing the money in these guys to the moon. You're probably going to give Dean Ambrose a chance of being Mr. Money in the Bank and a world title shot down the line. But yet, you know, basically you're doing it down the line. And that's all good and everything. And people are happy about that. But here's the example. The character's being restored back to normal in the comic books. Just like that, with ease, if you will. It's kind of like if the WWE decided for the Shield to finally lose all their titles in one night and lose them in quick, easy fashion, turning them, and basically, it's like the WWE decided, okay, they've been unbeatable and all that for all this time, virtually unbeatable. Let's have them to lose all their titles on the same night and with relative ease. Like, okay, bell rings, Big Show picks up Dean Ambrose, chokes on 1, 2, 3. Or bell rings, Usos roll up Seth Rollins and Reigns, 1, 2, 3, new tag team champions. Things like that. And basically by doing so, they'd basically be taking this whole momentum they put behind this group and flushing it down the toilet. And making it mean nothing. And turning it into meaningless nothingness. If you know what I mean. Just complete BS. So, what do you do? What do you do? What do you do about it? You either redeem yourself for it, or you just leave it as it is. And unfortunately, they gotta leave it as it is. Yes, right? If they did it. Or they could redeem themselves by allowing, let's say, Ambrose, if he becomes Money in the Bank winner, to cash in and become world champion. The point I'm trying to make, folks, is the fact that this is exactly, that if they were to do that, WWE, internet fans, and all that would be upset with them. And that's exactly how some fans feel about what's going on with the whole Roboticized Master deal. It's like you build up the characters becoming Roboticized Masters, and yet this is how they're treated. This is how you end the entire situation. It doesn't make sense. It's just, this is how you restore them. Whoop-de-doo. But again, it's all about Sega saying, hey, look, you could do this, but that's the catch. The catch is you could only keep them this way for a few issues, and they got to be defeated with ease. And that was probably a deal between both Sega and Capcom. Because look what happens. When Mega Man helps restore them, he gains the abilities. So I can understand why fans were upset about it. It sounds crazy, I know, but I can understand that. I mean, again, like I said, if I felt like it, if I was writing the story, I would have had the climax to where you have some kind of a 10-minute countdown clock. You have what you have at the beginning in the first pages or so of 250, and you basically have Sonic and Mega Man and Tails running through all these robot masters while the time's counting down to save the friends, and just at the last second you have them save that last friend. You know what I mean? You have them save that one last friend at the last second. So, to me, again, I can understand where people are coming from with that. I can understand, I get it. How they're upset about how easily the characters get. Because I'm pretty sure anybody would agree that what I just said about a climax of 250 would have been better. Heck, I would have even added in the fact that, hey, you really want to make them a threat? You really want to make the Roboticized Master versions of these characters a threat? Don't only do that, but guess what? Also give them something that I like, and I'm sure anybody would agree on. Give them the power to combine. That's right. Give them the power to combine into one big robot master, with the most powerful being like the main portion of the group. Turn them into one big robot master. And see where you go from there. And see how much of a climax you get from there. And like I said, see how big of a climax you can get from there. And that's the thing I look at. That's what I look at as saying you could have done more. And where I agree that you could have done more. I mean, like I said, you could have had them going through a barrage of robot masters to get to their friends in 250 and restore them while it's counting down. And you can even throw in the little Easter egg, if you will, a little surprise, by giving them the ability to combine into one big robot master. I mean, that would have been tremendous. That, to me, would have been tremendous. And I'm sure a lot of people agree. You would have been basically getting more out of them than what you had. So I can understand where fans feel the whole Robot Master situation or subplot of this crossover has fell flat. So we just have to see what else this arc has to offer. And it seems that Eggman, apparently at the end of this arc, is starting to remember a little bit. Maybe. But the point I'm trying to make is, I just believe they could have done a lot more with these characters. I really believe it. And I'm sure everybody would agree with that. In the roboticized form. But as the title says, I understand why fans are upset about the roboticized masters. So, let me know what you guys think. Comment below. If you like. Let me know what you guys think. I'll talk to you all later.